Here's how I fixed code P1747 on my 99 Crown Victoria using the ELM327 adapter to the OBD2 port and the FORscan software on my computer. Once you put in a new refurbished VIN corrected PCM on these cars, you have to go back in and reprogram the car keys to something with this whole PATS system, a passenger anti-theft system. And this is my trial and error going through this process. So you have to have two factory keys that have some kind of sensor built into it. So once you have the computer connected to the car, you go and click that little wrench, and what you're trying to get to is the PATS system and erase and program keys. There's talk about timed access versus input key and output key. I went ahead and just used this timed access thing. So as you see, it takes 10 minutes to get to this first stage. It says it's going to erase the keys, and then you're going to reprogram your two keys. And do you have two keys available? You see it advances a little bit more, and then it gives you instructions. Now feel free to pause this. So I took my time trying to read everything in a hot car in a hot garage in California here. Sorry I'm so shaky with the camera. So I'm basically trying to memorize this as I'm staring at it. So at this point, I try to start the car. But clearly it doesn't work. So it's back to reading the screen and trying to understand these different error codes. Here's where I start reading about the whole idea of a module initialization. And so not putting two and two together yet about the powertrain control module, and it's saying that you need to do a module initialization. I was kind of at a loss, so I contacted customer service to see if I could get a little assistance. So they wanted me to go through and see all the different codes that were on the computer at this point. We're coming up on this code P1747, and that should have been the red light in my mind saying, hey, something's not set up right still. And that's what led me to go back and read that PATS code B2139, where it says I need to go through now and do the module initialization. And that's what I had read eventually that evening as well, yesterday evening online, where it said first you do the key erase and reprogram, and then you followed up with the module initialization. Here we are on day 2, and I'm trying to see what I can figure out on my own, since I hadn't heard back from customer service yet, because it's obviously a Saturday night and Sunday morning. And I'm looking at going through that module initialization and want to make sure I'm not going to screw anything up that I can't undo with this car, since, like most people using YouTube to learn how to do stuff, we got a little bit of idea what to do, but not enough to know exactly what to do. So again, it talks about using 2 keys, but on that screen right there, it does not mention that if you just replace the PCM, you need to go ahead and do this service. So I was hesitant to go ahead and start it because it doesn't list on that page the PCM being replaced. But when you go back to the code section, it does. So here I was just trying to see what that screen said as well. So instead of closing it, I want to make sure I try to do it properly and hit exit. So now I go back to those codes and I read the description of that top one again. So on this screen it says use or run the module initialization option if you replaced the PCM. And so I'm trying to see, is that highlighted as a hyperlink? So it's okay. Go through the PATS application and you'll see where it says the PCM if it was replaced. So you got to go down again and hit that start button, and here's the screen that says it. Module initialization. This function is used if you have replaced the PCM or any of those various other pieces. And then it's going to go through that timing process again, so you need to have at least 10 to 12 minutes ready to go. So I'm showing the time. And here we are, 10 minutes again after. So here's where it says, what have you replaced? And there's my top choice, powertrain control module, PCM. And again, here's some more instructions. I move the camera over in a second. Basically, you close this, you take the key out and wait 10 seconds. But you also have to cycle something. Cycle the key 3 times. And you'll see that I cycle the key, and on the 3rd time, instead of going back to off, I tried starting it. And that's why I didn't start this first go around. So what I needed to do is completely cycle 3 times, take the key out, and then start it, let's say on a 4th time. One, 2, 3, 6. So as I reviewed my own video, I noticed I did not turn off on that 3rd cycle. I tried to start from that 3rd cycle. That's the only problem I had on this. And so unfortunately, I was a little bit frustrated, got out of the car and figured, you know what, I'm going to start all over again. But when I came in, I noticed that the light wasn't flashing security anymore on the dash. And so I was able to start the car right up, and then I went ahead and cleared the codes and then let it run again on the FORscan software, and everything worked. That airbag light is for the suspension, and that's been going off since I got the car last year, and have replaced the airbags in the back suspension, but I'm not sure how to clear that code just yet. And let's don't even call it a code, let's call it a warning light, but everything works fine on that. So at this point, I'm watching the dash to see if that check overdrive light starts flashing, which would be to the left of the 124 miles remaining on the gas tank, and it does not show up. But I'm very cautious to see, fingers crossed, to see if it stays unlit or not. But when I did go through and clear the codes, no codes came back up except for P1000, just indicating that the car is not ready to go through smog. The emissions controls hasn't been through its drive cycle yet. And the rest of the video is just me driving the car, so feel free to watch it or stop it or whatever you'd like to do. But for $200, I was able to get rid of that P1747 code by simply replacing the PCM with a VIN reflashed refurbished unit, which I purchased through flagship1.com, I think it is, and buying that ELM 327 adapter off of Amazon, and downloading that software, FORscan software, and reading everyone else's input off of the internet and watching other people's video contributions. So I figured I'd add to the contributions for the next person. Hope this helps someone out there. Thank you.